Hey guys, I'm Morthadon, and we are back for Serial Experiments Lain episode 7. I did real quick order of business for you guys. I did change back to the uh, more strong noise filter. Probably not the way to say that. It's the more powerful noise filter that I felt like sometimes muffled my voice, but I wanted to test it again because my mini fridge behind me keeps making like a loud kind of rattling noise. And the two options are either just unplug the mini fridge while I'm recording, which is a possibility. It wouldn't be that big of a deal. Uh, or try to get the noise filter to cancel it out. So if you guys hear a weird humming in the background, my bad, it's that. And if you hear any like weird distortions with my audio, this is just kind of like a test, and hopefully it's still audible, and I'll just stop using it after this. So, anyways, sorry, I just wanted to get that out of the way and let you guys know in case you hear a difference and you're like, what's going on with his voice? Um, but yeah, we had a crazy episode last time. We had Lain talking to the knights and finding out that the knights might be trying to kill her because she might be gaining too much power. Or at least that's my theory. We had and especially because now she wants to, like, she's learning too much about this system that is utilizing the psychic energy from kids in order to like create a power source sort of thing, and that's why the kids are kind of reaching for the sky and stuff like that. So we talked to that child killer scientist who put on these experiments a while ago and it ended up going wrong and killed a bunch of kids even though he didn't want to, um but yeah, a lot of really interesting things, and I'm really curious where we go now that the knights are kind of targeting Lain, it seems like, and who are these guys with her that kind of distracted her and brought her outside when this went down? Are they against the knights? Are they against the Wired? Like what is all this? So, maybe I feel like we're starting to understand the show a bit better and starting to like follow its flow and realize like a little bit of what's going on, but still very, very confused. So yeah, guys, let's get started here in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, now. Did I set up subtitles? I did not. Which means I also probably didn't do the audio either. There we go. Every now and then I forget because it defaults to English with no subtitles. To change it to Japanese with English subtitles. I may if this noise filter doesn't feel good, I may try the noise gate again. The only issue I had with the noise gate is I felt if I say real quick words, sometimes the gate doesn't open. So I'll say a word like, say, gate, for example, and it'll sound eight, kind of thing, because it like doesn't open until I've already said the G, and then it opens and says the rest, kind of thing. So I like when I was going back and like seeing some of my videos when I used to use the noise gate, sometimes I didn't even know what I was saying because the words didn't like start right away. Or I had to like use my brain to try to fill in that gap kind of thing. So I hate these audio issues. That's why I just try to keep it as quiet as I can. I use a very simple noise filter to cancel out some of the humming from like fans and stuff. Um, but the more advanced ones are get a little finicky for my taste, which I know people get them to work. I'm probably just gonna mess with the settings. Anyway, let's watch the show. Sorry. Yeah, I don't know shit about what's going on. Society. Layer 07. That's the other problem, is sometimes I whisper things, and I'm scared that if I, like, noise gate too strong, it's just I'm not gonna pick it up, too. What is that? Oh, is her system still working, or did she just get it back up and going? Her system is getting crazier by the episode. Hmm. Shit. Hmm. Wow, they're watching enough of her to be able to know that there's someone behind her, which means some kind of, like, camera setup. Seems like they said to her, like, who's that behind you? What? Such a weird sound. Is that, like, actual real footage in the background? Just, like, very distorted? Like real life, not anime? Look at this guy. Ugh, what a face. You freaking perv. This guy. What are you working on? Some kind of game, maybe? Just casually programming shit while in class. There's something so nostalgic about that sound that chalk makes on a chalkboard. I mean, obviously, I went to school and heard that noise a lot, so obviously that's why I'm thinking that way. But is he, like, making riddles for people to solve online, or what is he doing? Hmm. she's like shaking. Man, I didn't really notice Lane's, like, more pale, I guess. Like, a lot more pale when they compared, like, the skin tones of Arasu and her. Oh, shit. Maybe that's what that dude was doing? The big guy in the room calling people morons? Was he hacking? Or was it Lain when she was doing her stuff? Hmm. Search has no matches, huh? Hmm. Have you ever seen the Lain? Oh, she's like becoming a myth kind of thing. Kind of like kind of like the Knights who were originally just like people kind of rumored about them, right? And it's kind of like what's happening with Lain. My back is bugging me. Probably because of terrible posture. Eh, all the guys in the show are leering this episode. This guy. Hmm. Not gonna seduce me, bitch. Sometimes it's much more fun to just play the game in person with each other, not over the net. Well, she's a believer. These guys again. Oh, they're doing something this time. They're not just standing there staring. He has eyes, oh my god. I want to learn. Go, Lain, go. Get into the car with strangers. They have candy. I want info. Go, go, go. Sorry. Uh, This fucker again. I like how he thought of everything. He brought an umbrella in case it rains so his technology doesn't get wet. That's some smart thinking, right? If this guy's wanting to become a knight. Mm. He found Lain instead. Just like an apartment complex. Hmm. What do we got? It's the sun in there. Just pushes her in. Get in there, kid. Hmm. She, is she here for tech support? Creepy. She looks at it for 2 seconds and knows. Man, I like wish I knew because I know a lot about computers, but I don't know like the circuit board level kind of thing. It'd be cool to be able to like. I've heard of people like resoldering things on circuit boards and shit. That'd be crazy. Hmm. Hmm. Okay, but who are you? Hmm. Interesting. Like a group of people trying to keep a foothold on reality and not give more power to the wired, possibly. Or do they want the Wired for themselves? And it's a coup. An overthrow attempt. I don't know. Huh. Oh, it's that lady again. Hmm. Oh, shit. I doubted something about that earlier. Oh, shit. Oh, shit. It's my mom's birthday tomorrow. Oh, we're getting into some crazy shit that I only, like, barely scratched the surface of one episode for a theory. Oh, shit. So I have a little bit of a personality change, it seemed like. Oh, shit. Like a multiple personality sort of thing? Huh. Without a device. Shit, man. My brain is tickling with things. His name is Carl. I love. There's something so great when it when it when you're watching a Japanese show and one of the characters' name is just Carl, because usually it's like I don't know, it's like show or something or Shinichi or I don't know. When I'm trying to think of names, I can't think of any. But then you say Carl. Interesting. That's that symbol on that. It looks like it's like fried in some way. Huh. Hmm. Did she use like whatever that was to go after that guy, but now she doesn't need it? I don't know. Speaking of that guy, we got that symbol again. Alright. Goddamn, that episode went by fast. Holy crap. It felt like we just got started. We'll, almost stopped it. I forgot we still have credits. Um, yeah, man, I was just into that episode. The beginning, I was starting to get that confused feeling again. We were kind of like jumping around to different things, and I didn't really know what we were seeing. But then by the like second half of it, when we started talking to that guy, and he started basically as soon as he started saying like yeah, as soon as he started talking about her parents being like, are they your real family kind of thing, that's when like things started like clicking into place once again, and I wasn't as confused, because, like, you guys remember that episode, I think it was a few episodes ago, I don't remember what number it was, I have it in my notes, where was it? Episode 3. Wow, it was only episode 3 that happened. When the police called the parents and it showed like an empty home and no one was there. But like, then suddenly they're there when she gets home from the police, right? Like, that rubbed me the wrong way. And I talked that episode about the possibility of, like, are her parents really real? Do they really exist? Kind of thing. But then, like, is it Lain who doesn't really exist or something? I don't know. It's like the questions he asked this episode gave me so many like vibes of like, yeah, it's like confirming. That is it, by the way, guys, for episode 7. But it's basically confirming that theory I had in episode 3 in regards to like something weird with her family. And now that he asks those questions, like, when's their birthday? When did you celebrate a birthday? And it's like, she just started having a meltdown, and then, like, to stop that meltdown from happening, Lain from The Wired took control, which they even said, like, this is dangerous, because you don't even have a device and you're doing this. That's, like, how much power she's gaining. And that's, like, where they're saying the lines between The Wired and the real world is crumbling. So, it seems like at some point, I don't know. The real confusing thing is, to me, is back in like episode 2 or something, we had the whole stuff about like people knowing Lain of the Wired as if she's been around for a little bit, far before Lain started doing stuff with the Wired, right? As far as I know. Which that's I think that's one of the biggest mysteries in itself right there, is the fact that, like, because if I didn't have that little bit of info, I would have been like, okay, Lain got her new Navi, she tricked it out the way she did, she installed this psychic chip right onto it, and that's probably the point where she created a copy of her mind in the system, right? Maybe a copy of her exact personality at the time and everything she knew into her computer. Say something like that happened. But then the Lain outside the computer kept on moving in its direction, but then we had the Lain inside the computer moving in its direction. And I was thinking they might be like separate entities kind of doing their own thing. And the Lain that's in the computer had all these new experiences, and that's what caused her personality to change enough that all her friends are like, oh, I don't recognize that. But that moment happened before Lain really got into the Wired. So that means at some point, the Lain that's in the Wired was created before the Lain outside the Wired really gained the power that she gained. So it's like, when was that Lain formed? That's like my big question right now. And is it going to be something where we're going to get flipped? Like, is the Lain we've been following this entire time the one that's inside the Wired? And that's why she keeps saying, like, the real world is fake, because her real world is what's inside the Wired, like what she thinks is real. Maybe she was created in the Wired, we've been following from her perspective. That's why everything's been so, like, weird and twitchy, is because she is, you know, basically we've been following her inside the Wired this entire time. And the Lain that is supposedly Lain of the Wired is the one outside the Wired, like, controlling and manipulating everything. I don't know. That's just a wild, harebrained theory to try to explain why it seems like Lain of the Wired came before our Lain gained the power that she did. So, hopefully we get an answer to that at some point, but the guy here questioning her family and everything, and then, you know, Lain just suddenly, or Lain of the Wired getting, like, all this power to be able to possess her body without actually being, and that's, like, another thing that could lead you to believe that, our Lain, it has been, like, in a computer this whole time, because maybe maybe our Lain is some kind of AI created by Lain of the Wired and was just doing her own thing, and Lain of the Wired is just watching, kind of thing. But then she sees this meltdown happening, and she's like, all right, I need to step in. And she, like, takes control of that avatar that's in this world, kind of thing. Um, but it's definitely some crazy shit, some crazy theories, and I'm really interested in where this goes from here. Like I said, like the first part of the episode was a little like we had that like I'm sure there was some kind of symbolism there that I'm supposed to understand, and maybe I'll understand it later. But it just seemed like we had this guy who wanted to be one of the knights, and he had all this technology walking down the street, like trying to merge his reality with the wired and everything by, moving in the physical world while doing it and all that. And being like, hey, look what I can do, kind of thing, and make me one of you. But then we had like all those symbols, like a pyramid with it almost reminds me of one of those things like when you want to draw like a perfect circle. I don't know what they're called, but you put like the pointy end down and then you spin the pencil around in a circle. That almost reminds me of what was over like the pyramid icon. But like maybe I missed a line here, but is that supposed to be like a symbol for the knights? And if that's the case, does that mean that one lady that was like getting hit on by the is that why every time we saw that symbol with people, like even the guy that was leering at the one girl that sat next to him and he kept like looking down at her legs and all that, like are all those people that we saw that symbol with, are all those knights, and we're starting to see their real world personas, kind of thing? It's just like a random housewife, a random businessman, kind of thing. They're just random people. I don't know. Or is that like a separate group that's doing something and that's their symbol? But I think like when they talked about the knights, they might have showed that symbol, I want to say. But it was just a lot happening, and a lot of it I was so confused. Like I feel like maybe if I watch that scene one or two more times, or like the first half of this episode, I should say, I might be able to notice some correlation between that symbol. Because when I first saw it, I didn't know what it was. And then towards the end, I was like, kind of like, maybe it's this, but if I rewatched it, I might be able to, oh, okay. I'm starting to get it a little bit. But yeah, interesting. Man, I felt like this episode went by so fast, I don't even quite know what else to, like, talk about. But we did get to, those guys finally made a move. We watched them, they, like, confronted her without just staring at her and brought her into their boss and all that. And then we saw Lain actually see Lain of the Wired, and she even seemed like jumpy and shaky when she saw that. Because it seems like maybe she understood, like I didn't fully understand what was happening, but maybe our Lain realized what was happening. Like, because it seems like she confronted. It does seem like she's the one that confronted that guy, right? Um, the dude that was walking down the street that looked creepy with all that equipment. So maybe she saw and like knew what Lane of the Wired was doing and started freaking out, kind of thing too. I don't know. It's a lot. It's a lot to take in. I think this show, more than most other shows that I watch, you could like really gain some insight from rewatching it like right after you finish it, right? And you have like all the information they give you, and then you go back through and you know that information from episode one, and see how like the different things make sense that I thought were just crazy and bullshit in the beginning, right? But yeah. Anyway, she also, I mean, I guess it did confirm it later in the episode, so it doesn't seem as big of a deal. But at the start of the episode, she said the me and the Wired, and I always thought like it was supposed to be that her and the Wired was actually her, just like maybe when they said like her personality was different. I thought maybe like, okay, yeah, it's just her, people are different when they're on the internet kind of thing than they are when they're in person with people. But no, I think the way she said it like led me to believe that they're two different entities. And then obviously fast forward to the end of the episode and we see what happens there. It's pretty clear that they are two separate entities at this point. So, but yeah, Carl, great name. Anyways, that's gonna be it for me, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed this reaction. Hit that subscribe button if you did. Check out my Patreon if you want to see more. Link in the description below. 2 episodes ahead of time on there if you want to see it right now. $5 a month through the Patreon tier. I very much appreciate it. It supports me in what I do here. And you get early access to some of my other shows and all that. $10 tier gets you the Patreon shows where you can see a few shows before they even release to YouTube. So a bunch of seasons of Better Call Saul and Symphogear on there right now. Check it out if you're interested. Thank you guys so much, and I will see you in my future reactions. Bye-bye.